Good. Oh, we're good. Hello again, everyone. Thank you for joining me back on the podcast. I'm your host, Joe, Joe and Love. AEW Dynamite. A very, very good edition of Dynamite. I think we have to say was last night. Last night when I watched AEW Dynamite, I think many fans would agree that gave wrestling fans of Dynamite in general, first time we watched AEW Dynamite in a while and felt like, yep, that's a very fun, bless me, edition of Dynamite. From the opening segment with Swerve, Samoa Joe, and the Kingdom, or the Undisputed Kingdom, talking about Dynasty, because that's the thing. Now that AEW is having more pay-per-views, the clock continues faster going into these pay-per-views, because Dynasty is on April 21st, and we got some big teasers, at least what happened on Dynamite and what could be happening at Dynasty. But from the opening segment between, like I said, Samoa Joe, Swerve, and the Undisputed Kingdom, to the ending of Dynamite, Bryan Danielson comes out to lock eyes with, or have a bit of face-to-face with Will Ospreay after his very good match, very good encounter with his friend Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher, gotta give props. Gotta give props as far as in the ring. When we've seen him versus Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, and now his friend Will Ospreay, this guy has very valuable momentum or potential as a singles guy in the future. I mean, Aussie Open with Mark Davis, that is one of the best tag teams, and we miss Mark Davis, but eventually tag team split, and we know with Fletcher, we know the potential's there to be a really, he's a Ring of Honor TV champion for a reason, because they already see something in them as a single. This is a stepping stone for him going forward. And he's only 25. Gotta give props to him there. He's only gonna get better. But yeah, AEW Dynamite was really fun. Certainly pushed some stuff. Usually the expectations with a fallout show of a pay-per-view is like good, but kind of like a reset. This did feel like a reset, but in a subtle way. because, like we mentioned, Dynasty is a little over a month away. So it's interesting to start cherry picking and think about what's to come. And next week is big business. Big business. Where already announced Samoa Joe defending his title versus Wardlow, who won that 8-man scramble at Revolution. I don't think Wardlow... It's tough because what do you do going for as an interesting precursor? Wardlow's likely not going to win. But you can tell they're still invested in Swerve. So it's very interesting. But gotta talk about, before we get into the review, because this what kind of sucks about social media, is these spoilers of sorts. And we knew Okada, what courtesy of reports, we kind of knew Okada, spoiler or not, was coming into AEW. We just didn't know when. We thought it could be next week, this big business, where likely it's going to be Mercedes Moné making her debut, and possibly Okada. But last, we got a very fun segment on the show last night with the Young Bucks, Eddie Kingston, and Kazuchika Okada, as the Young Bucks quote, suspended Hangman Adam Page indefinitely for putting his hands on two officials at Revolution. So, thought of, well, he has some personal issues. Seems like he'll focus on those after the pay-per-view. Again, hopefully whatever's going on with Heyman, hopefully he's okay. And, yeah, wish him the best. It sucks with Hangman. Hangman suspended. Adam Cole hurt. But I think we have a feeling he's close to being back. MJF, he's out. We don't know. And Kenny Omega. This, another piece. So, the Young Bucks said that Kenny Omega has missed his dates for no apparent reason. So for that, they have to fire him. So, there you go. And not only did they fire him, Eddie Kingston came out. He was pissed. Beatdown happened. And right before the EVP trigger, KAZUCHIKA Okada runs out there in a good-looking suit, and at first it looks like he's going to aid Eddie Kingston. 2-on-2 versus the Bucks. Then we see a Rainmaker. We see a double shake of hands and the gritty grin. And Excalibur mentioned the newest business partner of the Young Bucks, and Nicholas Jackson said the newest member of the Elite, KAZUCHIKA Okada. I think it's the right decision. Because look, we know with Okada, look, that's why Takeshita is with Don Callis. Because the heat not only Don Callis brings, but we know there's obviously a language barrier, and Takeshita feeds off that. Don Callis is the mouthpiece. There we go. Okada, we know he can speak a little bit of English. However, again, there's a language barrier, obviously, and pairing him with his friends who are feeding into this heel gimmick more and more, the Young Bucks, it's only going to add. And which I just mentioned, the Kesha, that's obviously a match bound to happen now with those two in the future. And the weird thing is now, with them both being heels, for now, it puts them, keeps them at a distance. I think that's safe to say. But I think it was the right decision ultimately. And we're going to have a trios match out of the three on Collision. So, may have to tune back in the Collision for that. So, we'll see. But yeah, Dynamite was a fun show. Brian Danielson sat down with Ospreay at the end. I mean, jeez. Well, we'll talk about all that. Solid main event. Kris Statlander's heel turn. That is something interesting to look forward, think about. But all in all, thank you all for joining me on the podcast. If you guys are new and of course want to see more content on the channel, you can click the subscription box as well. Just subscribe, be a part of the channel, helps me out, and continues make me feel joyous for the channel, making content, making reviews, making, etc. But yeah, we've now hit the 40 mark, 40 strong for subscriptions. Let's keep it going. If you guys are new or veterans of the channel that have not subscribed yet, click it. But nonetheless, Dynamite we shall go over because it was very fun. Very fun to say. So let's get into it, shall we? So the show started off with a pretty much distraught Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland, he was out there with Prince Nana. And, obviously upset that he was not the AEW World Champion. He read in, talked to Tony Schiavone saying, well, we're basically on the 2-year anniversary of when he first signed with AEW. And he was introduced by Tony Schiavone at Revolution, saying now he's not the world champion, saying what's been happening to him as late kind of feels like karma, because he's done some bad things in his career and what's been going on, saying maybe he's the guy that just is there, that gets close. But I talked about Joe saying that he's not finished, and it's still his mission statement to be world champion. And Samoa Joe obviously didn't take kindly to a threat, as Samoa Joe, still world champion, all happy and provocative, was out there, showed out. Now, he was in his gear, so you knew something was up. He wasn't just down there to talk. So he mentioned Swerve dressed people as almost world champion. So he just wanted to come out and people engage at him, who's an actual world champion. So Swerve was obviously irate, poking at Joe, saying, well, it's not a good idea for you to provoke me, saying, if you're feeling so bad, maybe we should, or you should put this title on the line against me right now, since you're ready for a fight. So, an interesting development. We hear the Undisputed Kingdoms theme. If anybody knows, prior to the last couple weeks, the Undisputed Kingdoms booking since World's End has not been as expected. They've not been looking as they should. But after a stellar performance at Revolution with Wardlow, excuse me, bless me. After Wardlow winning the 8-man scramble to become the number one contender for Samoa Joe, and Roddy just looks much better with the AEW or International Championship after a brutal beatdown of Orange Cassidy. So, Adam Cole, he addressed Swerve and said that the only thing he's going to swerve to is swerve to the back of the line, because the only person that's going to vie and be the next world champion is Wardlow. So, kind of funny as Swerve allude to Adam Cole as, quote, Captain Claw from Inspector Gadget, saying that he's liking the new gimmick that Adam Cole's associating himself with, saying that if you got new clients, or you want new clients, he's got Britt Baker, DMD's second phone number in his back pocket. And so that riled up Cole, but Cole wasn't phased, and saying that if you guys are so bad, then how about a match next week, because we run things. How about next week, the Kingdom, Taven and Bennett face off against Swerve and Joe. And Swerve, yeah, you can tell he's certainly becoming more babyface like. Swerve said, well, why wait till next week? We're here, we're ready to fight. Why don't we do this right now? And Adam Cole was like, you guys don't run things around here, we do. The match is happening next week. So, of course, Tony Schiavone, when it comes to announcing like that, acts like the impromptu GM at times with these announcements. Said that Tony Khan has announced that it will be Swerve and Joe versus Taven Bennett right now. So, there we go. We got an impromptu match here, which wasn't really a match, by the way. So I'm Cole. If you notice, the last number of weeks, when he's talked about Wardlow winning the World Championship, saying the belts or the title is going to come home to its rightful place. And then he points to himself. And that's always a unique thing to allude to, because when the Undisputed Kingdom made their initial mission statement after World's End, Adam Cole talked about how after Wardlow wins the World Championship, he's going to hand it to Adam Cole. And Wardlow was just brushing off like, sure, whatever. So, that's obviously going to be interesting when the time comes. And if that factors into next week at all, it's just something to think about. So, what's really a match here is basically like 2-on-1 of the Kingdom for Swerve. Swerve was handling his own. for the most part, and then in the end, he hit a JML driver on Taven as he was looking towards Joe, who was in the corner, and nice little message as Swerve and Samoa Joe picked this win over the Kingdom. So afterwards, Wardlow was jogging down the aisleway, the rampway, and Swerve was distracted. So this allowed opening for Joe to choke out Swerve out cold in front of Wardlow, who they mentioned the match will take place next week. Samoa Joe for Swerve, or Joe, or Wardlow, that. Wardlow versus Joe for the AEW World Championship next week at Big Business. But with Dynasty coming up next month, and again, Swerve didn't lose, or he didn't tap out. Hangman did at Revolution. Now Hangman's suspended, so, or taking time off for whatever. So that puts a wrinkle in plans. So do we get Joe versus Swerve at Dynasty? Or the winner next week for Swerve at Dynasty, because you want to at least keep it modest. But it's tough because you got two that sorely need to keep their momentum in Wardlow and Swerve, but Swerve kind of feels like Swerve needs to have his moment first. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes down next week. Bunch of parameters, but should be a little interesting match there to see. The Young Bucks, it was funny. They had they had a mini thing, and then they had their actual segment later. So the Young Bucks did their Tony Khan impression best. So we know when Tony Khan makes a huge announcement, and we can kind of tell with the huge announcement by the Bucks. We know when Tony Khan makes this huge announcement, his eyes are wide open, as big as they can be. He has this huge smile on his face, big cheeky smile on his face, and he's like, "Thanks, guys." Runs down, da 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 da, and then yeah. So Matthew had a microphone. And he was like, "Thanks, guys," and then he was smiling. Nicholas, he was smiling. So Nicholas talked about how they have two huge announcements, and then as he's about to announce, Nicholas was like, Matthew was like, "Let me cut you off." So he's like, "Why don't we make these this announcement or these announcements in that ring live tonight. Somebody said, back to the action, guys, back to the action. Got a little explanation of Hook versus Brian Cage, who were two of the guys in the All-Star 8-Man Scramble at Revolution. This is good. Hangman or Hulk and Brian Cage. If you've been watching, say, Collision or Rampage, you can tell there's been little innuendos the last month or so about the possible match, and cool to see. Now, considering what we saw on Sunday with Young Bucks, Sting, and Darby, not sure if this... Anyway, so it was Hook versus Brian Cage. It was good, yes. But FTW rules, there was weapons and stuff involved. It's like there were attacks, there was guardrail, there was fire extinguisher, kendo stick, etc. It's just considering what we saw with the tables Sunday night with Darby and Sting going through glass sheets. I mean, it kind of took the value kind of out of this match a little. But was enjoyable, yes. So, Hook being made to look like a badass more and more. It's been fun. And he certainly showed it against Brian Cage, the Machine. So, yeah. Fire extinguisher was involved. There was a guardrail being thrown into the ring. Hook was thrown through this piece of guardrail. There were attacks. I didn't see how they were. I was back and forth for this match. I missed a piece of it, but so finish the match was interesting. So Hook walked on the Red Room, and Brian Cage, of course, we see sometimes where a person locks in a choke, and an instinct by the person getting choked is they do a back bump to try to release the hold, whether it's to the turnbuckle or it's like flat back, try to get the aggressor to release the hold. So, tacks were out. Brian Cage went for the back bump onto tacks, but Hook did not release the Red Room. And Cage, after a slam, had taxed him as well. So, book ruling for both guys. Brian Cage then eventually passed out, and Hook wound up retaining the FTW Championship. Now, the FTW title has obviously mixed views surrounding it. I know my views as in it's not needed, but we love Taz. Doesn't need to be defended. No. But considering all of the titles AEW has, but a match that relatively made sense. Hook versus Brian Cage. Two former Team Taz members fighting over the FTW Championship and way to describe stuff or their past does make I'm okay with it. Afterwards, so bit interesting. So, or didn't have this on my bingo card. The Mogul Embassy. Khan and Toa Leona. They were out there and attacked Hook post-match because partners of Brian Cage. So we're out there and then all of a sudden we hear Chris Jericho and Judas play, and Chris Jericho strolls out there with Floyd the Bat and basically runs off the gates of Agony. Toa Leona and Bishop Khan saving Hook, as it appears we're gearing towards Hook and Chris Jericho alliance take on Mogul Embassy. Now, it's different. I mean, Chris Jericho's been feuding with Don Callis' family for months. So, okay, it's different. Hook, it's unique. Would I say I'm thoroughly excited about this, a potential pairing between Hook and Jericho? Particularly not. You know, of course, Jericho has stigma and reputation of, you know, lowering the effect of young guys, talented guys. So, lowering their momentum, so to speak. So, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, because Hook is so very young. He's so green. He has a way to go as far as working himself up on the roster, but we'll see. Could potentially lead to a Hook versus Chris Jericho match. If that's the case, then we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. So the announcement that was made, and go figure, at the at the post-show media scrum on Sunday night. But we did get a little video package about it, where tag team tournament is based now, will be soon, for the vacant now AEW tag team titles. So a video package about some of the prior AEW tag champions, such as SCU, FTR, Hangman, Omega, etc. Bill and Rick Starks, Guns. Anyway, it's going to be interesting how they maneuver this tag team tournament, because as far as the tag team division, we got the Guns, we got FTR, we got the Blackpool Combat Club, we have Private Party, we have Top Flight, we have The Acclaimed. If Mark Davis is back in time, we could see Aussie Open back. We have a slew of teams. The Hardys, although after a report, Matt may be on his way out of AEW. So, I don't know, but they have a slew of teams. Butcher, Blade, a number of teams that they don't showcase. They haven't showcased. The tag team division hasn't really picked up a lot of momentum. So, we'll see. We got the Young Bucks, who also announced that they will be in the tournament. So, we'll see. We also got the Kingdom. Yeah, it certainly could use. So, contrary to the tournament, we got the Best Friends backstage, or in the parking lot. Orange Cassidy, Trent Barrett, and Chuck Taylor. So, Renee Paquette asks, is it time for them to finally win the big one and be in this tournament for the AEW Tag Team titles? Chuck Taylor said that unfortunately he's not medically cleared, so he's on it, but suggested Orange and Trent try to go after those tag titles. And Orange just said, after losing the title on Sunday, he's going to do what he's continue to do. So Chuck Taylor mentioned, they have a match on Rampage, the first match together, as they prepare for the tournament. So all hands in, and yeah, we'll see. So that's two out. That's the other thing. How many teams will be in the tournament? It's like 8, 16 bracket. So I don't know. We'll see. Killswitch, aka Luchasaurus, went 1-1 with Matt Menard. Little match here. Made sense as far as the pay-per-view, because when Christian Cage fought Daniel Garcia, that we saw that brawl between Matt Menard and Killswitch. So it was weird seeing Killswitch come out to Christian Cage music, but the patriarchy was there. You know, Christian, Mama Wayne, or Mother Wayne. She apparently now has shirts out now that say Mother. So, anyway. So, Shannon Wayne was out there. Nick Wayne was out there. Christian was on commentary. This wasn't much of a match, but enjoyed it though, contrary to what we saw on Sunday. But Killswitch won here with a choke slam followed with 2 lariats to the back of the head. 1, 2, 3, and Killswitch wins. They went for more attack after match, but Daniel Garcia came in for a little save. Eventually, the numbers were too much for Daniel Garcia. And then eventually the patriarchy were set to leave. They were up on the stage. And then we were wondering if it would happen on Revolution. Did not. But we did see the return of Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland. He attacked Killswitch with a chair. He choked out Nick Wayne. Mama Wayne went for a low blow, but he blocked it. And basically chased Christian Cage all throughout the arena to the point where Christian Cage carjacked someone in the parking lot and showed off a new car at SUV. So afterwards, Adam Copeland, after Christian showed off his new vehicle, said to the camera, I know you're gonna see this, so let me say this. This has to end, and it will end where it started. Toronto in 2 weeks. March 20th. Copeland versus Christian Cage 3 and for the TNT Championship, an I Quit match. I think we've only seen one I Quit match in AEW. I think there might have been another, but the one we can obviously vividly remember is Eddie Kingston vs. Moxley, Full Gear 2020. So we'll see. We'll see, but the patriarchy kind of wish Nigel McGuinness was calling this match, because obviously to him, Christian is Father of the Year, and seeing the Father of the Year say I quit, that would be to him. Should be fun though, should be fun. And yeah, we don't want to over drag the match out too long because it gave Garcia a nice spot at the pay-per-view. But now we're here. Now it makes sense. Spot where they wanted. Kyle O'Reilly. Talk about another guy. Well, a guy who made his return at Revolution after Roddy beat Orange Cassidy for the international title. Laid eyes on the Kingdom. Shared a moment with Roddy. Was offered a shirt and a spot in the Undisputed Kingdom, but denied. So he got a little backstage with O'Reilly and Renee. Renee asked him about his return. Roddy again with the long hair, looked like he hasn't slept in a while. But Kyle said it's great after 2 years being cleared again. Something he never thought he would be. And was asked about the Undisputed Kingdom, he said he has nothing but respect for him. But said, well, being a part of them is the easy thing. And he says for now, he needs to be on his own. So O'Reilly, we know, is a really good wrestler. It's great to see him back. We know, though, the money lies with Kyle being paired with Roddy and Adam Cole in the Undisputed Kingdom. Especially since Wardlow is on borrowed time as a member. So, they're clearly going to work it up, and then when it actually happens, it'll be a solid moment for them. Solid moment. But yeah, good to see O'Reilly back on AEW TV. Now we get to the Young Bucks. Now we get to the Young Bucks. So they're out there in their suits and whatnot and address their big announcements. So first of all, Tony Schiavone was in the ring. They screamed for him to get out, said we're tired of this stuff. So they said they had to address two of their best friends. Two big decisions regarding two of their best friends as far as the elites. So first they address Hangman and Page. Said to not show favoritism, saying that on Sunday he put his hands on two AEW officials, saying for that you've been suspended indefinitely without pay. So then, Matthew was fake crying and everything, thinking he was going to tear up. They addressed Kenny Omega, saying that Kenny has missed his dates for no apparent reason. And it was good seeing commentary be all confused as to what. Omega's been out with diverticulitis. So he said for that subordination, Kenny, you're fired. So Omega's out of the elites. So they talked about the tag team tournament, saying that they'll be in it. Guess who's in it? And then Eddie Kingston's music plays. So he strolls out there. So he was talking about there's been little shots at the Bucks, new attitude from Eddie Kingston. So he got Nicholas's face and he said, well, or actually Matthew's face, and said that he's going to fine him if he talks crap about his brother. So he threw some money in his face. So you might as well do it now. So Matthew is not having it. He's saying that be the olive branch here, saying let's not air our grievances out now. Let's go to the back. Let's this or that. So Nicholas tried to attack him, tried to get a beat down. So then all of a sudden 2-on-1. Then they go for the EVP trigger. So then all of a sudden we hear I gotta have a coin in here or something. Wasn't as good, but you get the point. We hear the coin drops, and that can only be one man. Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, is officially now part of AEW, as he is gone from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And made his grand entrance as the Okada Bucks fall from the ceiling. So he was out there. He helped Eddie Kingston to his feet. And yeah, it looked like for a sec that Young Bucks versus Okada and Eddie Kingston. Then all of a sudden Okada gives Eddie a Rainmaker. And you just knew, like, yep. And the Bucks are like, oh. Nicholas said, I almost forgot. Last announcement. The newest member of the Elite, Kazuchika Okada. So Okada posed. They did the double shake hands over Eddie. And they smiled. as commentary said, the newest business partner of the Elite. Omega out, Okada in. Okada was gesturing towards the Carno Crown, setting up a future match between Okada and Eddie Kingston. Unique, I'd say. Again, you love how Eddie Kingston's kind of risen up the ranks with these opportunities and his opposition. But yeah, heel Okada, the right move. And paired with his friends in the Bucks, sets up potential another match with Kenny. I mean, Hangman sword is there. Yeah. That was great. Kris Statlander versus Riho. This was a fairly good match. I'll win. Riho, we don't see her a lot, but when we do, it's supposed to be of relative importance. Well, with this match in Statlander, to improve the storyline of her with Stokely, I'd say it played an interesting part. So the thought process of Stokely is a heel manager, but in this process of Stat and Willow kind of pulling his strings. So, but we saw last week and we saw on last night how some heel-ish tendencies, I would say, we saw Sat laying some stiff shots, fish shots on Riho, and then so who's got better than Stokely? No one really right now. Don't at me, but anyway, so in the finish match, like last week, Stokely, there was a chain. As they were both down, he put a chain in the ring, and he was distracting Aubrey Edwards, and Statlander had the chain. Now Willow wasn't out there to talk out Kris as she did last week. So we see Statlander conflicted. She has his chain, and looks like she may not use it. She throws it out of the ring. Wants to win the right way. So then all of a sudden, it looked like she was going for the Big Bang or the Wednesday Night Fever. She has a bunch of names on finisher, but Wednesday Night Fever. So all of a sudden, Riho then rolled her up. 1, 2, 3. Riho beats Statlander. And then there you are. Statlander, like last week, lost because she didn't use the chain. And showed a weird segment of Stokely and Willow afterwards. So, yeah. Toni Storm. Past Toni Storm and present. Backstage as Mariah May. She definitely works as cosplaying old Toni Storm. It works, as she did on Sunday. Anyway, so she talked about Don Peraza and her win. Talked about Mariah May, her protege, and said what's next with her. It's a joy celebration. So in the end, Toni Storm said chin out, tits out, and watch for the... Actually, she gave Mariah May a shirt, which she was all thrilled about, and then Mariah instead said shoe at the time end. So there you go. Darby Allin. Craziest guy in pro wrestling, I think we can say. Who is thankfully okay again after diving off a huge ladder into a sheet of glass. I mean, you saw the big bandages on his back last night. I mean, so Darby was out there. He had his half of the tag team titles and Sting's baseball bat. Mentioned how he's feeling. How Sunday was a great moment for him. Being homeless, and now he's doing what he's doing. So next week it's gonna be Jay White versus Darby Allin, which should be a fun match, first time ever. So, and he talked about Mount Everest, saying, "I'm not guaranteed to come back from Mount Everest alive, but if next week is my last match, I'm glad I did to enjoy you all faithful, and it's been a fun moment as what Sunday definitely means to him." Talked about the tag team titles and the tournament. Said, address people that say well, why don't you find a new partner? And he got emotional, saying, let's be honest, Shivani, you can't replace the icon Sting. So to whoever wins this in the tournament, saying you deserve it. So then all of a sudden we hear Bullet Club Gold's music playing. And then we see Jay White and the Guns up here. Pretty interesting, as we have seen tendencies, innuendos about Bullet Club Gold turning back heel. Because that's the bread and butter. Not being this shtick in the Bang Bang Scissor game with the Acclaim. So, Jay White talked about a moment on Sunday saying he didn't mean to interrupt this ongoing thing. But mentioned how while he praised saying at the end he doesn't really care. Saying that Darby doesn't need to show up for next week. They don't need to do this match. But saying that instead, Darby could come backstage and, enjoy time with the Bang Bang Scissors gang. And that they even have a nickname for him, aka Darby Scissorhands. Which got a chuckle out of Taz. So, Darby was pretty much pissed at this point. So, pretty much say, Jay, are you done? Saying that you've main evented the Tokyo Dome twice, and you come in here and instead you've played with cardboard boxes. Saying, well, I don't see all the hype. As he pointed Sting's bat, the baseball bat, in the jaw and the throat or the neck of Jay White, pretty aggressively sending a message as far as next week goes. So, Bullet Cup Gold left, and gonna be unique again. Jay White, Darby Allin. We'll see. Darby is clearly not 100% after Sunday, but at least he has another week. Yeah. We'll see. Joey Hart. She was backstage next with Sky Blue. And dressed how people may need a reminder of who The Witch and who the TBS champion is, and set up a open house match for Rampage for anyone who needs reminding. So yeah, match was made for Friday. Her first, I think, one of the Renegade twins I saw. We'll see. House of Black, who have not been shown. Julia Hart, fine. House of Black could not been shown on Dynamite in weeks. They had a little video addressing Collision. Brody said, well, battles he's had against Briscoe Brothers forged for history. And they talked about a matchup on Collision dealing with Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe, he spoke afterwards. He was quoted by Jay Lethal. Lethal said he has his back, but said, "Don't worry about Jeff Jarrett." Apparently, it's a 6-man street fight, trio street fight on Collision. House Black versus Mark Briscoe, Jeff Jarrett, and Jay Lethal. House Black needs to win point blank. Well, Jeff Jarrett's probably there to take the pin. So, yeah. Okay. Bro King. Fudge. Bro King was like, just let us know if you guys need a coffin or 3. So there you go. Trio street fight for Collision. Main events. Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. Seeing Ospreay now all elite, seeing his music and stuff for match on Dynamite. Unique. Against his friend Kyle Fletcher. This was fun. Kyle Fletcher is on the raid. Kyle Fletcher, I mentioned earlier, we've seen him against Bryan and we've seen him against Omega. He can hang with the best. And again, only 25 years old. Got a bright future ahead of him. So, certainly as a singles guy. Will Ospreay, one of the best, if not the best wrestler in the world. This was bananas. And I don't know what to say. I mean, the fact that Ospreay now is all elite is at 2 great matches thus far is not a surprise for Takeshita, now Fletcher. And what's next? Oh boy. Lock in seatbelts. So with some stiff shots by Fletcher early on, we can tell with the shots, we can hear them. Ospreay hit a plancha on the outside, followed a boot on the apron. So, Fletcher, in the ring, Fletcher hit a brainbuster for a near fall, tongue and neck a bit of Ospreay. They had some stiff exchanges in between. Thrust kick by Kyle. Ospreay countered a Liger bomb with a big DT. Kyle would land a long dart into the middle turnbuckle. Sunned Ospreay for a bit. Ospreay would hit the Os cutter. Didn't get all of it, but got some of it on the apron. So back in the ring, Ospreay hit a Poison Rana, and then Kyle would get the advantage back. They were on the top rope. He went for a he went for an avalanche dragon suplex. And Ospreay, we've seen it a couple times, he landed on his feet. So he counted a lariat into a Liger bomb for a good near fall. So then follow up. Fletcher had some very good offense as well. He hit looked like a butterfly side slam by Fletcher, followed with a big Liger bomb for a near fall. Sit out for a near fall. Ospreay's head bounced off the mat, as Taz alluded to. Finally up in the corner, it looked like Fletcher was perhaps going for a superplex, or a stalling, at least the late one. Ospreay far out. He landed a Poison Rana off the top rope, followed with a big back elbow. Thought was to finish the match, but it was not. Fletcher kicked out. That was, geez, I ate. So, again, another solid exchange. Ospreay, after a few counters, he landed a Spanish fly for a near fall. Went for an Os cutter right after for a near fall. Finally, what did the deed? What did Fletcher in? Landed a hidden blade on the chin to Fletcher. He asked for it. And Ospreay obliged. And then 1, 2, 3. Ospreay gets the victory, 2-0. His first match as All Elite on Dynamite. Picks up the victory. And it's funny, as they were cheering his name, all of a sudden Don Callis gets in the ring and they start booing off commentary. So Ospreay checking in on Kyle, talk with him, and all of a sudden we hear Flight of the Valkyrie. Like, if anybody knows, obviously, I mentioned again on Sunday with Ospreay now being All Elite, saying that one of, if not the match, should be made now that this Bryan's final year being full time. Ospreay versus Bryan is a match to make, if not for Wembley. But we don't have to wait that long, it looks like, because Bryan came out didn't say anything. We just see Bryan with a big, gritty grin on his face as he got in the ring. And he and Ospreay just looked at each other, and then great visual as you see them looking at each other on both sides, and then you see Dynasty, the logo, in between on the stage. You know, pretty much setting up Dynasty, Ospreay versus Bryan. I mean, potentially match. We already talked about Bryan or Ospreay Takeshita as potentially match of the year. This may not only be match of the year, it could potentially be match of the decade for all we know. I mean, not sure what to say. It's a dream match, certainly. Certainly gives a great feeling. Yeah, Dynamite was fun. So we'll see, guys. We'll see. I'm not sure about the weekend. Perhaps. We'll see. Probably SmackDown / Collision or review for you guys. Should be fun. But anyways, I'll be back next week, obviously, with Dynamite. And then yeah, keep up. So, yeah, like I said, you guys new subscription box, or if you want to see more, there you guys know the drill. Click the like button as well. Thank you guys for all here. Appreciate you all. See you guys next time. I'm HL Throwing Love. Thank you guys for getting out here. Peace.